Good afternoon and welcome to Conservation, Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources. I believe we have a quorum here, so could we open the roll, please? Let's find out who's here. Okay.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much. And those of you who need to leave, and I think there are a few, would you please set your proxies, and we will begin the meeting. All right. Very good. All right. The first order of business, we have two bills to re-refer to other committees. We have House Bill 848. Delegate Davis's bill is to be re-referred to Education and Health. Could I have a motion on that, please?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to re-refer HB 848 Delegate Davis to Education and Health. Could you open the roll, please? All right, off it goes.
Ayes 12, no zero.
Ayes 12, no zero. The bill is off to Education and Health. We also would like to re-refer House Bill 1100 Delegate Carr to Local Government. Could I have a motion on that, please?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second to refer HB 1100 Delegate Carr's bill to Local Government. Would you open the roll, please?
Senator Favola for Senator Salim.
All right, thank you so
Senator
much.
Favola for Senator Salim.
Thank you, sir.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no zero. That bill is off to local government. The next order of business, I have two referrals to make to the Companion Animals Subcommittee, and those would be Delegate Orrock's House Bill 223 and Delegate Martinez's House Bill 1354. We had two other bills we were going to send there, but the patrons have asked for them to be heard in full because they're fairly simple. So do I need a motion on that, Michael?
Voice vote, sir. Voice vote, sir.
Voice vote is fine. Okay, can we send those two bills to the Companion Animal Subcommittee? Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to send to Companion Animal. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? They are off, Senator Favola, to your committee, which meets when?
Our committee meets at 4
Chair.
o'clock on Wednesdays.
4 o'clock on
So
Wednesday.
that would be tomorrow.
Mr. Chair,
Be informed and be aware. Senator Hackworth, you have
could you repeat those two bills that was just referred?
to Companion Animal?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Those are House Bill 223 and House Bill 1354, Delegates Orrock and Martinez.
We'll come to
And we're
committee.
going to hear Delegate Campbell's bill, which is a companion animal bill, and we're going to hear Senator Rasool's because they're very simple and they're just conforming. So,
And,
Senator Favola.
Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, not Madam, but Mr. Chair, I just want to note that, again, we meet at 4 o'clock tomorrow, and it's in room 300C? 311C, in case any of you would like to come and talk about companion animals.
311B, companion animal, tomorrow at
4.
4 o'clock. All right, thank you. First off, we have some identical Senate bills. There's 5 of those. 2 of them have substitutes, which will be handled a little bit differently. But the first bill up, and I have told her she did not need to be here, is HB 213, Delegate Watts. And we wanted to, if I could have a motion to conform that to my Senate Bill 953.
So moved.
So
Second.
I have a motion and a second to conform those bills. That's a voice vote?
No.
Do yours on the House side.
No, we're going to, I just talked to,
Conform.
yeah, we're just conforming to mine.
Oh, it's
Right.
453.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want a substitute on the House Bill 213 will conform to your Senate Bill
Senate Bill
453?
453.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think a motion was made and seconded?
Oh,
So
okay.
that's a
And
vote.
to conform that, and that's a voice vote? Or I think we need a recorded vote on that. Could you open the
The
roll,
substitute.
please? And,
Substitutes a voice vote, and then reporting out's on.
I'm sorry?
Substitutes a voice vote, and then when we report it out, it'll
Okay.
be on the board.
Very good. All right. Could we, all in favor of conforming that to Senate Bill 453, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now, could I have a motion to,
I move that we report the bill as
And-
in a substitute.
and refer to finance?
And we refer to finance.
I have a motion and a second to report and refer to finance. Could you open the roll, please? All in favor, vote yea. Opposed, nay.
Ayes 13, noes 1.
All right, that bill, 13 aye, 1 no, that bill is is reported and off to Senate Finance. The next bill that we want to conform is House Bill 580, Delegate Simons. It is identical to Senator Boysko's 411, and if we could, I don't believe we need to,
Mr. Chair, they're already identical.
we're already identical,
We
so
could vote out.
we just voted out.
580.
So,
Move bill be reported.
Second.
motion is second to report the bill. Would you open the roll, please?
Ayes 11, noes 2.
Ayes 11, no 0. We are off to finance, or excuse me, the bill
Go to the floor.
is reported and will go to the floor. HB 596, Delegate Askew's bill is identical to Senator Stewart's, so, and that bill has to be sent to finance. So could I have a motion to report and refer?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to report and refer Delegate Askew's HB 596. Could you open the roll, please?
Ayes 14, no 0.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bill is reported and referred to finance. We next have Delegate Laufer's 1403. Is she here? Thank you, Delegate Laufer. I understand you have right now you're identical to Senator French's bill, but you have a substitute.
Yes, there's a substitute for lines 31 through 41.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 38 through 41.
38 to 41. Do we have a handout on that, or could you just report then what your substitute
Sure.
does,
The
Delegate
substitute will restore the language currently in code related to the amount of money that the department can be deployed from the fund in a given year.
Laufer? All right. Anyone have any questions about the substitute?
It's got to go to finance.
It's got to go to, this has to still go to finance. We have the bill before us as, with the substitute. Can I have a motion to report and refer to finance?
Do we adopt a substitute?
Did we, I thought we adopted the substitute.
I think so.
Okay. Move to adopt the substitute. Do we have one? Motion?
A motion to adopt the substitute.
And a second. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Move bill be
Okay.
reported and referred to Senate Finance.
Second. All in favor to report and refer to finance. Could you open the roll, please?
With the substitute, yeah.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. Good luck in finance. All right, next up, we have Delegate Hernandez. Is he here? Thank you. Welcome, Delegate Hernandez. You have a bill that is identical to my Senate Bill 733, but I believe you have a substitute.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have a substitute. I'm happy to speak to that substitute.
All right, do we have anything in writing on that substitute? No. Okay, if you could describe your substitute, please.
So the substitute makes a few changes. First of all, it keeps the existing position of Chief Resilience Officer under the Natural and Historic Resources, which is its current location. The original bill, and I believe in yours as well, Mr. Chair, it was nested under the under the governor. The second change that we're making in this substitute removes references to a new Office of Commonwealth Resilience. I know that discussions are still ongoing about the sort of budget and funding for that, but at least within the four corners of this new substitute, there should be no fiscal impact. All of the work can be done within existing FTE structures. And so those are the two major changes, but the transparency provisions related to the two funds and the coordination abilities for the CRO remain in this bill.
All right, thank you. Any questions on the substitute? All right, can I have a motion on the substitute, please? We have a second. We have a motion and a second to report the substitute. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the bill as substituted is before us. And can I have a motion to report and refer to finance?
So moved. We report the substitute and we refer to finance.
Motion is to report the substitute and refer to finance. In favor of that, would you open the roll, please? Say yay. Opposed, nay. All
Senator
right.
Stewart.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes
Many
15,
apologies, Mike.
no zero. The bill reports. I think you'll have better luck in finance than I did. So,
Fingers crossed. Thank you,
Good luck
Mr.
to
Chair,
you.
members of the committee. Appreciate you.
All right. All right. Moving right along, we have, I believe, Delegate, we have two bills that we want to hear that we were going to refer to companion animal, but we're actually ready to go. So if we could have Delegate Campbell, your HB 62.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HB 62 establishes a registry for people who have been convicted of felony animal cruelty. The threshold for felony animal cruelty is very high. This bill would capture the worst crimes such as animal fighting, maiming, killing, injuring, or poisoning an animal. When you're convicted of this type of felony, the person would then be added to the registry. It would include their name at the time of the conviction, the offense that they were convicted of, and the jurisdiction. And then this would all be available on the state police website for every locality to be able to access this information. Excuse me. It's important that we do this because right now, when an animal shelter or anyone is trying to adopt an animal in Virginia, you can't find this information. So animals continue to be abused over and over again by some of these same people. I'd also like to mention that we do have the budget amendment in the House budget. I hope that you'll take favor on this.
Thank you very much. And I understand you're amenable to having this bill conform to Senator Stanley's
Yes.
SB 93.
Yes, sir.
So moved.
All right. And we have a second? We have a motion and a second to conform to Senator Stanley's SB 93.
Move bill
All
be
in,
reported.
all in favor?
Aye. And then,
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
All opposed? Okay, the bill is before us. Can I have a motion to report and refer to
I
finance?
move we report the bill as amended in the nature of a substitute and refer to finance.
We have a second?
Second.
All right, the motion is to report the bill and re-refer to finance. All in favor, vote yea. Opposed, nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill reports and
Thank
is
you.
referred to finance. Good luck up there. All right, next we have Delegate Rasul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Before you is House Bill 804. House Bill 804, Mr. Chairman, says that to hold an evidentiary hearing pursuant to a dangerous dog summons shall be within 30 days or as soon as practicable. The problem that we're trying to solve is currently the code reads within 30 days. The local Commonwealth attorney was trying to get something scheduled where a dangerous dog had unfortunately attacked someone, and it was eventually dismissed because the hearing was not within 30 days. And then fortunately that dog went and ended up attacking someone else. So what we're doing is allowing a little bit of judicial discretion to say as soon as practicable should a judge find that necessary.
All right, any questions for Delegate Rasul from the committee? Seems to be pretty straightforward and simple. Anyone here in the audience in support of the bill?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak in favor, raise your hand.
Anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition to the bill?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak in opposition, raise your hand.
No one there? All right, the bill is before us, does not need to go to finance, so can I have a motion on the bill? We have a motion and a second to report the bill. Would you open the roll, please? Vote yea if you're in favor, aye, nay if you're opposed.
Mr. Chair, is,
What's that? No, we're good. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. Is it-
I
you still-
just wanted to ask Mr. Chair's permission to tell the delegate that his daughter did a great job with the Pledge of Allegiance today.
Oh, thank you. It was her birthday, too, so I'm glad that worked out. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, and to her favorite Democratic delegate, Senator Williams-Graves.
Thank you, Delegate Rasul. Okay, now we're on to the rest of the docket. I believe we have Delegate Freitas is first up on our list. Delegate Freitas, you have House Bill 759. Turn your attention to House Bill 759.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This has been affectionately dubbed the pickle bill, unless, of course, you prefer cake pops, in which case it's the cake pop bill. The issue that we're trying to address here is twofold. You probably noticed some articles that took place with respect to a young lady that was selling cake pops and ran into some issues with whether or not she was legally permitted to do that at the event that she was doing it at, and whether or not she was legally permitted to be able to advertise online that she was doing that. And then, in addition, about 10 years ago, we passed legislation that allowed people to sell acidified vegetables at things like farmers markets, and the threshold was $3,000 annually. Well, like I said, it's been about 10 years. There really hasn't been any issues with this, and so now we're just raising the threshold. So to give you an idea of what the bill currently does, is that it increases the revenue cap on pickles and other acidified vegetables from $3,000 to $9,000. That's annual, the total number that you can sell. The sales may be conducted at farmers markets, private homes, or any temporary events that operate for a period of no more than 14 consecutive days. And again, that's trying to get at the issue that happened with respect to the cake pops. It clarifies that you may advertise products online, but that all sales must be made in person. And then it allows for products small enough where a label will not be practical to have a sign displaying the name, physical address, and telephone number of the person preparing the food product, that the date the product was processed, and the statement not for resale, processed and prepared without state inspection. So again, most of this is already legal. It's kind of clearing up some of the ambiguous language that existed in the code with respect to the online sales and where it can be conducted, and then raising the cap from $3,000 to $9,000 annually for acidified vegetables. And I have some people here to testify that everyone likes more than me. If that's necessary, and I'm happy to answer any questions from the committee.
Delegate Freitas, how long ago was the $3,000 cap set?
I believe it was 10 years ago, Mr. Chairman.
10 years ago, so
Yeah.
it did need an inflationary boost.
I think it does, Mr. Chairman. We also checked with Virginia Department of Health as well to see if there were any problems with botulism or whatnot, and they went way back looking at this, and I think they only found a couple of cases in Virginia, and those even weren't specifically linked toward the sort of sales that we're talking about here.
All right, very good. Before we hear from witnesses, anyone have any questions for Delegate Freitas? Senator Hackworth.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Although that I want to like this bill, I would like to ask the delegate if he sees any unintended consequences that this may bring up to the General Assembly and put us in a pickle next year.
Mr. Chairman, to answer the delegate, it could lead to some very bad puns, but other than that, I think there'll be no health consequences as a result.
Oh, okay, there we go. Any other questions from the committee? Anyone here to speak in favor of the bill?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak in favor, raise your hand.
So could you step up and tell us your name and very quickly why you support the bill? My goodness. Yeah.
Thank you. My name's Garrett Brockwell. I'm the owner of Orchard Hill Farm. As a first-generation farmer, I've had to evolve my products over the years. My business model is fresh produce and value-added products, so whatever doesn't sell fresh, I turn to either jam or pickles. The $3,000 cap has made that last one difficult. As the law stands, I can only sell 250 jars of pickles per year based on my prices of $12 a jar for 12-ounce jar of pickles. So elevating that would certainly help me out in that score. Selling at other locations would be huge because there's a lot of customers that want my products but aren't able to make it to farmers markets, and so this would open up more options for them. And then the online advertising has always kind of been a gray area, is can I even post a picture of my product on Facebook? or will somebody come knocking on my door as you're advertising online, you can't do that. So this bill clears that up and eliminates that fear of hazardous risk to me. So,
Okay, well,
thank you.
Chairman,
Thank
can
you
I
very
ask him a
much.
question real
Senator Suderline.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, first of all, my seatmate really would like a sample, but what I'm asking about is 9,000, that seems still pretty low to me for an operation.
It is low. Obviously, that's not. It does factor in inflation, but also, price of jars have gone up this year. They went up last year, so they're going to go up in the future. It would be really nice to see that taken care of.
And I don't want you to give me too much private information.
No, that's fine.
But thank you, Mr. Chairman. If someone sells $9,000 worth of pickle, how much are they actually taking in?
Again, it varies based off of if you're growing your own cucumbers, for example, or if you're able to get a good grade on jars and whatnot. But you can probably say a third of that will be cut off at least just for the cost of product, and that's of course not factoring in, transporting the product to a market or any other factors.
All right. Other questions from the committee?
That's it, Mr. Chairman. That just seems real low.
We can revisit that at a later time. Any other questions from down this way? Folks, I think he did a pretty good job of explaining the small producer side of the story. Is everybody's story similar to what he just said? Is there anybody who has something different to say? Yes, sir. Go ahead then. Step up.
Hi, my name is Dan Lefevre. I'm from Nelson County. I represent VICFA, that's Virginia Independent Consumer Farmer Association, and I'm a small-scale grower of fruits and vegetables. I'm not a pickle processor. I think this bill could help very much for small producers, farmers, or homesteaders to do have value added. It's good for people that are working part-time from home, doing child care or homeschooling, and be able to have a small-scale business on the side. And it will also benefit the community, keeping funds within the community. So we have an agriculturally supported communities. And the last thing is, if this doesn't pass, I think we're in a real pickle and a jam.
And a jam. Okay, there we go. Mr. Copenhaver, your sums up on the bill. Okay, thank you all very much for taking the time to come here, but we can expedite things by asking if there's anyone here in opposition to this fine bill. Okay. All right, we have two folks online who would like to address the bill. Please open the...
Amanda Kimbrell, you can unmute, and please make sure your camera's on.
Sorry.
Can you hear us? Could you please do your testimony?
Yes, hold on just a moment. Sorry about that. My computer was not being cooperative. My name's Amanda Kimbrell. I'm in Caroline County, and I'm with Berrycroft Farm. We are a small producer. We manufacture jams, jellies, produce, so forth. We had not started manufacturing pickles due to the fact that there was such a small profit to be made annually, so this would give us a chance to actually begin processing pickled vegetables. And the clarification of where we can sell would be very, very helpful. We did not find where there is a legal clarification online with what is considered a craft fair versus a farmer's market. So that is something that we would like to see clarified to be able to better sell our products and also be able to let our clients know online, this is what we're selling, this is where we're going to be selling.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much for your testimony. We appreciate you taking the time. We have one more person. Could you just tell us that you're in favor of the bill and where you're
Leslie
from?
Brown, you can unmute, and please make sure your camera's on. Leslie Brown, please unmute.
Okay, I got it. Hi, I am with Amanda. She and I both work the same farmer's market. I am a home baker, and I am so glad to see the changes in the law because this allows me, as a retired person, to not only be able to sell what I like to do, which is bake, but be able to, if I need a second income, this allows me to have a small second income, as well as, yes, one of the things that a lot of people, I guess, when they question it and they talk about it, a lot of people don't realize that when we do these farmers markets, we have to be insured. So we make sure that we're safe. We make sure that what we give people is safe. So, because of course we wouldn't want anything of a lawsuit or anything to come back on it. So being able to go other places now and being able to just be vibrant in the community is a very good function for me, and it makes me happy to see these changes.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much for your testimony. I think that covers all the witnesses. The bill is before us. Do I have a motion? Do we have a question?
Actually, yes. Actually, I think,
Senator Stanley.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I think in today's special marketplace, and this is a great bill, and I don't think at $9,000 we're really doing justice to what these small farmers and growers would be. I would wonder if $25,000 would be more in line with. That's not a big deal. You're not a big company, which would require inspection. In today's marketplace, I think, $9,000 in my mind, and I think I'm for once agreeing with Dave Suderline, which is a miracle, that I think $9,000 is insufficient. So I would, so long as the patron saw it as a friendly amendment, think that we up that number to be more reasonable in light of what we're trying to accomplish here.
Senator Stanley, I worry that this bill has been heavily discussed by any number of people who were there, and while I may agree with you in principle, I don't know that we should be, kind of making an ad hoc decision here in a committee about coming up with a number. But certainly this will come to the floor, and if you can discuss with the the various interest groups here to see about an appetite for an increase in it, you are welcome to do so. But I would appreciate not getting into that.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I was talking to the senator from Tazewell over here, and he said he ate $9,000 worth of pickles in an afternoon. And that seems to be not a lot of pickles.
Do you feed
maybe for me, but not for him.
Do you feed them to the beagles?
My beagles do not get any human food.
Well, there you go. All right.
But they get cooked food. So
but we'll save that for the floor. Can I have a motion to report the bill? Have a motion and a second to report. Mr. Clerk, would you open the roll, please? Vote yea if you're in favor, nay if you're opposed.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zeros. May free enterprise live forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
All right. Next up, we have Delegate Simons. You have two bills for us. Is she here? There she is. What would you like to take first, Delegate Simons?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to do HB 84, if that's possible.
It certainly is. Please, do we have any
Actually,
substitutes?
I'm sorry, I misspoke. HB 85, would that be all right?
We'll start with HB 85. Are there any amendments or substitute?
No.
Okay. Please proceed.
Thank you. HB 85 would prohibit the use of cyanide in mineral mining and processing. To be clear, no company has a permit to mine with cyanide at present, but we need this bill in case a company decides to start mining. Virginia, as you know, is endowed with a seam of critical minerals running from Fairfax all the way to Buckingham. And you may have heard that international companies have been coming here to prospect minerals like gold, copper, lead, and zinc. A recent study says that we are really not prepared if companies decide to start mining here. The National Academy of Sciences has raised concerns about the lack of regulations on the books, as well as the potential impacts to Virginia ground and surface water. I'm hoping you all will support the bill. I have more, but I will stop there.
All right, Delegate Simons, thank you. Any questions for Delegate Simons from the committee? Either way. And this would not prohibit secret agents from having cyanide capsules in their molars to commit.
I think the CIA is safe on this one.
All right, we're good on that. Are there anyone here that is in favor of the bill?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak in favor, raise your hand.
All right. Please come forward.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I'm Jessica Sims, speaking on behalf of Appalachian Voices. We are in strong support of HB 85 and thank Delegate Simons for bringing it forward. As mentioned in the National Academy of Sciences report, they specifically noted cyanide contamination as one of the major threats from large-scale gold mining. This bill simply addresses that concern. It prevents a potential threat. It does not stop mining, as there are other ways to process the ore. It stops the potential for cyanide waste to contaminate the James River watershed, which is drinking water for millions of Virginians and downstream communities. So we appreciate this protective, proactive bill from the delegate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Patrick Fanning with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. The study that's been referenced, I participated as a stakeholder in that study group, and this was one of the recommendations that resulted from the study to make sure that we have this protection in place, especially for downstream communities to keep those communities from the impacts of cyanide processing. We thank the patron for bringing the bill.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Nathan Thompson on behalf of the James River Association. As Ms. Sims put it, the James River is drinking water for almost 3 million Virginians. Exposure to cyanide could lead to various negative effects for wildlife and public health, so we support the bill. Thank you.
All right. There we go. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill?
If there's anyone online to speak in opposition, raise your hand.
All right. I think this bill is in pretty good shape. Any other comments from the committee? Could we have a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I move that we report this. I don't have a fiscal impact or the impact.
No, there is. This is not one that needs to go upstairs.
So I would remove that. I move that we report the bill.
We have a motion to report. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to report the bill. All in favor, vote aye. Vote those opposed, nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill reports. Congratulations. Delegate Simons, you have another. 84?
Yes. HB 84 requires notification to be given to localities and nearby landowners about planned exploration activities for mineral mining. This bill was developed in response to direct concerns from Virginians in areas of exploration for metals, such as gold and copper. This bill would not impact any current mining operations in Virginia, as it solely addresses future exploration activity. This bill also does not apply to quarrying activities for extracting stone and gravel for road construction. Currently, there are no laws regarding prospecting or mining exploration on the books in Virginia. As you've heard, the National Academy of Sciences has raised concern about the lack of regulations in Virginia and the potential impacts on ground and surface water. We view this as a simple transparency and accountability measure that is an important part of allowing local authorities to better understand and monitor exploration activities so that a cooperative relationship between explorers and the community can be established.
All right. Delegate Simons, I'll be honest with you, what concerns me about the bill, I think somebody needs to know in the community. I would I would prefer that the bill deal with advising local government and the elective bodies so that they can structure the communications to the community, because I feel like going out to all those in the vicinity and putting it in the newspapers, as the bill calls for at this time, kind of creates panic, and immediately people assume that there's a negative, terrible thing that's going to happen. And it's very difficult to overcome those initial impressions. So you want to come down in a structured way for what is actually taking place, what they're looking for, what have you, to happen in a better light. And there's also the concern around proprietary information for businesses who don't want to let their competitors know where they're looking and what they're looking for. But I do agree with you that the community needs to know that something's going on. So that is my comment, but I will turn now to the committee if there are any questions from committee members on the bill.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Obenshain.
Mr. Chairman, would you like a motion to make that amendment? Because I will make it.
I would, if we could hold off for just a moment and let anyone else who would like to ask a question, I would find that as a good amendment. Senator Favola.
Well, I guess I have a general question. It might, maybe our council can answer it. Is there a reason why we don't regulate this activity? If other states regulate it? Sure.
All right. Could Larry, could you come up and give us some information about the regulatory practices around mining?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Senator. Traditionally, this has not been regulated because it's considered minimally impactful. Core drilling, it's a couple of inches in diameter, drilling straight down. Anything heavier duty that would involve, say, an excavator, or that would be really land disturbing, that does qualify as a regulated activity.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Favola.
Do other states regulate this?
Mr. Chair, Senator, I'm not aware of what happens in other states with core drilling.
Okay. It is, this is minimal intrusion. I think the thing that is sort of scary to people when this happens is that the equipment is very, very large, but the hole that they're drilling is very, very small, and it is designed to determine what is down below and whether it is of value. And I think, it's important to have that. I just, sometimes communications is so important. That's my concern. Any other questions from the committee? Yes, Senator Williams-Graves.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we don't have the exact language, I agree with you on your amendment. If we don't have the exact language, can we accept the amendment in theory, and does this have to go to finance? And by the time it gets to finance, they can have all the language worked out with the patron?
It is.
Does that work?
This bill does need to go to finance, so if we could, but if I could have an amendment from Senator Obenshain that in concept.
Listen to the speakers first, and I'll gladly.
Okay. And
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I do have some folks here who can talk a little bit about why we think this is needed and other experiences that have happened in Virginia.
Okay, could we have those who are in favor of the bill come forth?
If there's anyone online to speak in favor, please raise your hand.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Jessica Sims with Appalachian Voices. We are in strong support of this bill because it is addressing a gap in Virginia's code. We currently have exploration requirements for notification if it is coal or if it is uranium. So that the National Academy of Sciences themselves cited this as a concern, the lack of public engagement on large-scale metals mining. We're appreciative that this bill was put together to address that. Overall, notification is incredibly important. We saw in Buckingham County that exploratory drilling was occurring for 4 years without anyone in the county realizing. The county was not informed. Neighbors just overheard that this industry was here. Of particular concern are rural communities that are relying on drinking well water and the impacts that exploratory drilling, although maybe small in diameter but deep in depth, could have on drinking water sources. We appreciate the delegates' work on this. It does not impede any mining operations because this is a completely different stage of that. They would still have to go through normal processes and permitting for mining. So we ask respectfully for y'all's support.
Thank you so much. Next, please.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Patrick Fanning again with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. We do support the bill, again, as a member of the stakeholder group that was convened as a result of a bill in 2021 to study gold mining. This was one of the recommendations to Senator Favola's question. There are other states that regulate this exploratory activity. In fact, many other states require a permit for this kind of activity, and all that we're asking here is for some public transparency about when this activity is occurring. So this is a measured approach that is meant to inform community members of what's going on in their backyards, and so we support the bill.
All right, thank you. Any others in favor? Is there anyone in the audience who is in opposition to the bill?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak in opposition, raise your hand.
Okay, please. Director Davis.
Mr. Chairman, Glenn Davis, Director of the Department of Energy. In front of you have some examples of the exploratory activities that this would actually cover. The Department of Energy, oversees 100 of these annually. Most of this equipment does not go down much at all. The ones on the back that look big go down between 10 to 50 feet. This would have significant impact on our ability actually also to keep in line and continue with 3 of the Biden administration grants that we have regarding critical minerals. Additionally, keeping in mind that these parcels of land are not small that usually this happens on, and they're not townhouse parcels next to it. Some of these parcels of land are 5,000 acres. You can imagine how many adjacent parcels there are to 5,000 acres, and having to hunt down these out-of-state individuals as well makes it a significant cost to the Department of Energy, and for that reason, we are in opposition to this bill, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Director Davis. Next, please.
Mr. Chairman, Rob Bohannon, representing the Virginia Transportation Construction Alliance. We represent 300 companies that build and maintain Virginia's transportation infrastructure. Included in that are the aggregate producers that mine minerals, rocks. Also, these members mine minerals that aren't just included in transportation. They mine other things. So, like as Delegate Simon mentioned, there is an exemption for building and construction materials. However, when you drill down, you look at things like kyanite, used in stainless steel production, used in spark plugs, clay, used in kitty litter, calcium and lime salt, all these things, you would have to do all this to do mineral exploration. Keep in mind that this is for also any exploration you did on your own land. You would have to go and do all this for the land that you already own. You heard people talk about gold mining as a concern. We actually offered to do something to address that specifically. Our members don't do that. That was not well received, but this does impact over hundreds of minerals that are mined here in Virginia, and we've got a member here to talk about how it impacts them specifically.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bohannon. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Snoddy. I work for Kyanite Mining Corporation in Buckingham County. We are the only kyanite mine on this continent and the oldest and largest in the world. Core drilling is a minimally invasive method we use to understand where under the surface of the earth our kyanite deposit exists, and more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, where it doesn't. We operate in a county where core drilling has been designated a by right land use, and we operate within the compliance boundaries of our mining permit issued by Virginia Energy. If this bill were to come to fruition, when we explore on our own property within our own mining permit, we would need to give advance notification to a county who is determined that the activity is a by right activity. That doesn't make sense to us, ladies and gentlemen, and thus we are unsupportive of this bill. We find it to be unnecessarily filled with notification. It will negatively impact our ability to mine kyanite in an efficient way, and thus negatively impact me and my almost 150 coworkers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Delegate Simon, would you like to close?
Yes, if I could have the last word. I think this is an important part of being good neighbors, of making sure there's transparency. People have the right to know if their resources could be impacted. Large-scale mining operations could negatively impact neighbors' property values. Landowners have a right to know about the potential of this large-scale mining happening in the future. So, I think notification is important. I would be amendable if you all wanted to amend this to just have the number 2 notify the governing body at least 15 days in advance. If you wanted to narrow it down to that, I would be in agreement. But, that mining is coming to Virginia, and localities really need to know about it. And right now, there's really no way for them to know.
Thank you very much. We operate on a motion. Do we have a motion on the bill? Oh, excuse me, Senator Williams-Graves.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess speaking to the bill in terms of the the last gentleman that spoke, I do have an issue with additional notification when you have a by right zoning ordinance in a location because it's by right. So if we start notifying, and I understand that drilling and mining might be a little bit different than a normal use, but if we start making folks notify people to be able to do something that they're rightfully able to do according to the zoning ordinance in a locality, then I think we're kind of going down a rabbit hole here. So that's the issue that I have. And then secondly, usually if there is a permitting process, I know at least in Norfolk, if there is a permit required where there is some kind of land use change, there's a notification process attached to that as well. So I think it might need to be narrowed down a whole lot more, in my opinion. But I really have a problem with the by right piece because I think that's just making folks jump through extra hoops to do something that they already have the right to do.
Okay.
And I mean no disrespect to the patron.
All right. Thank you, Senator Williams-Graves. Senator Hackworth.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and to the patron, speak to the bill. But I agree with Senator Williams-Graves, and I am in the construction business, and I see a lot of these core drillers that come out, and they are very minimally invasive. And anything more than that would require permitting, DEQ permitting, different things. They had excavation stuff. So with that, I would just like to make a motion to pass this by indefinitely.
I'm sorry. Your motion again, sir?
To pass by indefinitely.
To pass by indefinitely. Okay, do we have a second? Second. We have a motion to pass the bill by indefinitely and a second. Mr. Clerk, would you open the roll, please?
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Mr. Chairman, I think I made a mistake. May I ask that that vote be reconsidered? I made a mistake with respect to the proxy I hold.
Oh, all right. Having voted on the prevailing side, Senator Favola would ask that we reconsider the vote.
She didn't.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman,
We
I
don't
don't think she did. Having voted on the prevailing side by which the bill passed, wait a second.
It was PBI.
PBI. Move to reconsider that vote.
I have a motion to reconsider the vote by which Senate Bill 84 was PBI'd. If you could open the roll, all in favor say yay, opposed nay. All right. The vote.
Ayes 12, noes 3.
Is he back?
Ayes 12, no 3. The vote will be reconsidered. Senator Hackworth, could you repeat your motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I renew my motion to, with respect to the patron, I think this is about the PBI.
All right. Do we have a second?
Chairman, I have a substitute motion.
Substitute motion from Senator Favola.
The motion would be to report the bill with an amendment. May I offer the amendment?
You may offer the amendment.
Okay. What I would do is I would just say on line 28, is required by law shall. I would say notify the governing body of such locality at least 15 days in advance of such activity. And then I would strike the remaining language from line 29 to 37. So only the governing body would be notified.
That's,
No, they'd be notified anyways. They wouldn't have to do anything. That's my amendment.
all right. We have an amendment and a second to
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Stewart.
couldn't the locality do that if they wanted to? Why do we have to tell the locality they can do that?
Well, I'm not telling the locality. I'm telling the mining company that they have to notify
Senator Favola.
the locality. Could locality require that? You mean on their own?
Yes, Mr.
Senator.
Mr. Chairman, that's
Senator
my
Stewart.
point. The localities could require it if they so choose. I'm not sure why we're telling a locality.
Well, we're not.
They
We're
can
telling
already
them.
do
we're
it.
Senator
telling-
Favola.
Thank
can
you,
already do
Mr.
it.
Chairman. My apologies. We're telling the mining company that as a matter of good practice and good being a good neighbor, that you should tell the locality what you're going to do. That's all. This is just a notification. And then the locality can decide if it wants to publish that notification or whatever it wants to do. And if it's by right, the locality's not going to do anything other than just file the paper.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Senator Favola. The concern that Senator Williams-Graves brought up, I had not really thought that through, and I think I agree that when you have a by right thing, that's something we should not intrude upon. At any rate, we have could we have a motion on the amendment? You move the amendment? Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second to adopt the amendment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. No.
Amendment fails.
I believe the amendment fails. The bill is before us, and I think we're back to our original motion to PBI. We have a second on that.
Substitute motion, Mr. Chair. Can we have a substitute motion?
We've already had a substitute
Can we have a
motion.
second substitute motion? No. Oh, we can't, okay, never mind.
Okay.
I'm 0400.
We're back to the original motion, which is to PBI. Mr. Clerk, could you open the roll, please? Vote aye if you favor PBI, nay if you do not.
I hit nay and it came out wrong. What is going on with my machine?
So
Can you,
Ayes 12, noes 3. Your vote will be noted.
okay, the no will be noted.
Celine would be voting no, and I don't know why my machine's not working.
Okay.
So ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, bill is PBI. I'm sorry, Delegate Simons, but thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. It's an interesting problem I think we need to wrestle with. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Next up on the list, we have Delegate Wiebert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, before you, I have 1377 that was brought to me by the Soybean Association. And what the bill does is it changes the amount of the assessment for research, education, and promotion and the sale use of soybeans, which is 0.02 cents per bushel in the state code to the rate of 0.5 of 1%, which is per market price per bushel, which is what we have at the federal law. And that's what the bill does, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much. Any questions from the committee? Senator Stewart.
Mr. Chairman, Delegate Weber, this is what I like to call a self-assessment promotion fund or something like that. You
Yes,
guys
sir.
want to do this?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Senator Suderline.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got a question for the patron, and that's, what do we anticipate that new self-assessment would be?
It's not new, so it's
I'm sorry,
aligning
what
with
would the
federal
rate? code.
code. So the soybean growers, those of us that grow soybeans and pay, don't see any difference when it goes in. It's just if federal law disappears too, then all that money comes to the Commonwealth instead of just half. It's
All
exactly
right.
the same.
Thank you, Senator
of what we pay.
Suderline. Any other questions from the committee? Anyone in the audience here to speak in favor of the bill?
If there's anyone online to speak in favor, raise your hand.
All right.
Mr.
Mr. Chairman, Martha Moore, Virginia Farm Bureau. We're supportive of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha.
Mr. Chairman, Cliff Williams with the Virginia Agribusiness Council, and we support the bill.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition to the bill?
If there's anyone online who would like to oppose the bill, please raise your hand.
Move to report.
We have a motion, a second to report. Anyone online? No. Okay. The bill is before us. Motion to and seconded to report Delegate Weber's HB 1377. Get you a promotion.
All the rest of them.
Yeah, councilman, whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Could you open the roll, please?
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill reports. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And next up, we have Delegate Wiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 288 is in front of you. I had some folks I know that hunt in Essex County that brought this matter to my attention. We don't have much of this issue in my neck of the woods in Winchester, but that being said, I want to read you something real quick. This bill will require the location of stationary blinds east of Interstate 95 erected by waterfowl hunters to be disclosed by the Department of Wildlife Resources in a public searchable fashion. It will enhance safety along navigable waterways for hunters and boaters alike. Importantly, this bill will not disclose any personal information of the permit holders. This bill has a delayed enactment until January 1, 2025. So what's going on is these guys are getting to their blinds in the morning, and some of these people sign up for blinds at night before they go out, and then there's a conflict about where these guys are located. You got loaded guns in the morning at the crack of dawn, and these guys are just want to maybe put an app on the phone so they know where everybody's located. I feel it's more of a safety thing than anything. And I think DWR is here to answer any questions. Delta Waterfowl sent you a letter in support. The shellfish industry thinks they can work things out with DWR on leaseholds, and there's no fiscal impact. I'd be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Wiley. Any questions from the committee?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I'm the only duck hunter on the committee. If I could ask Ryan Brown, I like the bill. What I'm curious about is, does now this preclude you all from selling two blind locations right next to each other? If you've got this, what are you taking it to the 5th decimal point, and then you're going to publish that by November 1st, do you then know not to sell locations within 500 yards, or is this just for the public to know? Because that's where the problem arises a lot of times.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Ryan Brown from Wildlife Resources, and it should assist us in making sure we don't sell conflicting blind licenses. Just to describe how it's done today. So you come in, you buy your license, you self-represent to us through the online system what you're buying. We don't evaluate it at that time. Currently, you are required to give us location information about your blind, but it's not in a uniform manner, and so you may use Google Maps. I might use who knows whatever other program. They may show, information differently or locations differently. Delegate Wiley's bill would make that uniform, and I understand it's basically the data set that Google Maps uses, if what I'm being told is correct, that everybody would be using. So we would know exactly where your blind is in relation to Senator Marsden's blind or anybody else's, and so hopefully we could avoid conflicts with blinds that are sold within the 500-yard radius. And then the other difference of the bill has to do with our disclosure of the location of blinds. As the delegate referenced today, we have that information and people FOIA it I won't say all the time, but regularly throughout the season, trying to see where the blinds are. This bill would require us to go ahead and proactively put a map up so you'd know, okay, and I want to hunt in this area, and here's where the licensed blinds are. And then the delayed effective date we actually requested just to give us the season to let the community know of the new requirement and make sure everybody's up to speed on it before it affects them.
Any other questions for Director Brown or the patron?
Mr. Chair,
Senator Favola? Hold on, we just need to find out about opposition and support. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the bill?
If there's anyone online to speak in favor, raise your hand.
Okay. All right. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill?
If there's anyone online to speak in opposition, raise your hand.
I move that we report the bill.
Second.
We have a motion and a second
Chairman?
now to, do we have someone?
Mr. Chairman, it's just me down here.
Oh.
Senator Mulcahy.
Senator Mulcahy? Yes.
Just a comment to Senator Stewart. Don't assume that women don't duck hunt.
Senator Stewart.
Mr. Chairman, that was not a general assumption about women. That was just an assumption about the members on this committee.
And we have a whole bunch of duck hunters here. At any rate, we have a motion and a second to report the bill. Mr. Clerk, would you please open the roll? Vote yea if you're in favor, nay if you're opposed.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Delegate Wiley. Next, we have Delegate Tran.
Just one.
Delegate Tran, what do you have for us here today? You have
House Bill 1531, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Before you is House Bill 1531. This bill creates a civil penalty for anyone in the Commonwealth who uses a bullhook or similar device to hurt or intimidate elephants. As you may know, the bullhook is a very heavy weapon with a sharp metal hook at the end. For a visual reference, if you're a visual learner like me, it looks very much like a fireplace poker. And the bullhook is used to control elephants by making them fear anyone with a weapon, and sometimes it's used to actually jab into them as well. We often think of elephants as having very thick skin, but some of their skin areas is very tender, such as around their mouth and eyes, behind their ears, inside their trunk, or under their chin and around their feet. And particularly the skin of a baby elephant calf is much thinner than that of an adult elephant. And it's at that age at which elephants are broken by striking fear into them with the bullhook. Handlers use the bullhook, as I said, to inflict pain and punishment on captive elephants. And this pain causes them to fear the bullhook and avoid anything that may cause it to be used on them. The Association of Zoos and Aquariums, the predominant Zoo Accreditation Association, bans the use of bullhooks at facilities that seek to earn their accreditation. And we just want to make sure that we set this, kind of higher standard for elephant care in Virginia. I'm sure every member of this committee has heard that the Natural Bridge Zoo was recently raided by the Attorney General's office, and there's an ongoing legal conversations about kind of the care of elephants within that zoo. But that zoo was infamous for using bullhooks on their elephant, Asha. There's been numerous newspaper articles that just came out, even as recently as December, about the use of bullhooks on that on Asha the elephant. And while Asha was brought to Florida shortly before the raid, we just want to make sure that any captive elephant in Virginia, should Asha return, or that are traveling here through circuses, are not subject to bullhooks or similar devices. And I look forward to your questions and conversation today.
Thank you so much, Delegate Tran. Any questions from the committee for Delegate Tran? All right, there you go. Do we have, yes. Okay, we'll wait on that. Let's hear then from anyone here who is in support of the bill.
If there's anyone online that wants to support the bill, raise your hand.
Good afternoon, Chair Marsden, members of the committee. My name is Daphne Nakminovich, and I represent PETA and its nearly 145,000 members and supporters in the Commonwealth. We thank Delegate Tran for introducing this important legislation. The bullhook itself is not allowed in this room per Capitol Police, so I've brought a photo of it to share with you, as well as photos of how this weapon is employed to beat and break elephants as babies and then brandish the weapon around them as adults to remind them of the pain and terror that will be inflicted upon them if they fail to obey commands. Delegate Tran spoke about ASHA. I wanted to also share with you that in 2009, PETA investigated Ringling Brothers and captured footage backstage right before the elephants went on stage, including right here in Hampton, Virginia, of the handlers violently beating and striking elephants repeatedly right before they went on stage to remind them of what would happen if they didn't follow their commands. I'll keep this brief to allow my colleagues a chance to speak as well, but I wanted to share with you a list of supporters of this bill. The Association of Zoos and Aquariums, as Delegate Tran mentioned, they're the leading zoo accrediting body in the nation, and they have phased out the use of the bullhook. The Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, the Performing Animal Welfare Society, which is highly recognized for its expertise in the care and management of captive elephants, and who in more than 40 years of operation, during which time they've managed many dangerous elephants, have never once used a bullhook or any other pain-inflicting device to control them. The Humane Society of the United States, World Animal Protection, the Harvard Law School Animal Law and Policy Clinic, the Vermont Law and Graduate School Animal Law and Policy Institute, and Jay Pratt, Training Behavior and Welfare Consultant for the AZA, the USDA, and the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, among others. There is no justification for using a weapon too dangerous to be permitted into this public hearing room to force elephants to perform and exhibit behaviors they would never choose to engage in otherwise. Please vote to report this bill. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I think the bill may be in good shape here, so just tell us who you are, who you represent, and whether you're in support of the bill.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, my name is Tabitha Treelor. I'm with the Richmond SPCA and also on behalf of the Virginia Federation of Humane Societies. We affiliate our remarks with those of our colleagues at PETA, and we also ask that you will choose to report this bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Susan Seward with the Virginia Veterinary Medical Association. We also support this bill. Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone in the room who is in opposition to this bill?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak in opposition, raise your hand.
All right, I didn't think so. At any rate, we had Senator Suderline and then Senator Hashmi. Senator Suderline, you wanted to comment on the bill?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd make a motion that we report the bill and then speaking briefly to that.
All right, and we do, after the motion and the second, we do have someone who's popped up online. So, yeah, please go ahead, Senator Suderline.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I think elephants are the most noble animal, of course. And I was surprised to learn that my LA's brother actually is an elephant keeper. And so I got the inside information, and he said that at the Houston Zoo, for a long time, they've already stopped using this practice because it's widely viewed as not good for the elephant, just as we heard from this other testimony. So I like elephants, and I think it's important we help the elephants.
All right, I think that's a comment and a motion, and I'll let Senator Hashmi also comment and do the second if she so desires.
I would love to second that motion, and like my colleague, I truly admire elephants. They are very intelligent and social animals, and I regret that my Republican colleagues have usurped them as their mascot. But I want to thank Delegate Tran for bringing this bill. I think it's very important. And I think given the work that we've done in the past few years, and congratulations to Senator Stanley and Senator Boysko for constantly advocating against animal cruelty, I think Virginia can take leadership role in standing in defense of animals and make sure that we are at the forefront of preventing animal cruelty. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Hashmi. We just need to hear from one more individual who has checked in online. Oh, excuse me, three. I think the bill's in pretty good shape if you're here for support. If you could just tell us who you are, where you live, and whether you support or...
Shirley Johnson, you may unmute, and please make sure your camera's on. Shirley Johnson, please unmute. Heidi Krosky, you may unmute, and please make sure your camera's on.
Hear me now? This is...
Heidi, you may unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, my name is Heidi Krosky, and I'm actually here to oppose the bill. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Please share your testimony.
Yes, so there's a lot of talk about loving elephants, and a lot of us love elephants. But what we need you to recognize, and the reason that we're opposing this bill, is that this is actually an anti-husbandry bill. And if you've never handled an elephant, you know, it's easy to believe what PETA says. But this is trying to ban legitimate tools. Something that needs to be recognized in this conversation is that the American Veterinary Medical Association recognizes the bullhook as a legitimate tool for elephant handling. So we do ask that you reconsider that you would oppose this bill and not listen to PETA. Thank you.
Laura Watson, you may unmute, and please make sure your camera's on.
Sorry, trying to get everything started up. I apologize. I am here as a wildlife rehabber, as a volunteer at zoos, including working directly with Asha the elephant for over 20 years. As Heidi was saying, I also oppose this bill due to the fact that the bullhook can be used in a bad way. It can be used in a terrible way, and I don't disagree with that. But it can also be used as an extension of an arm, and when working with large animals, it is pretty much the same device as a show stick that is used by kids in 4-H when they're showing cattle as an extension of their arms in order to position the cattle correctly. And with elephants, it can be used in the same way without causing any pain, without causing any damage, but just because the animal is so large and people are so much smaller that they need that extension of the arm, and they can really maneuver an animal better without even touching them, and they don't have to be trained by inflicting pain with that device at any point in time in their lives. Just it's used to help guide, and just like it would be in a show situation with cattle. If anybody has seen cattle being shown by kids in 4-H, it's the exact same situation. So we oppose the bill only just to take away a good training device and a good husbandry device, just like Heidi was saying.
Thank you for your perspective.
Shirley Johnson, you can unmute and speak.
Yes, I worked with elephants for over 15 years, and I think this is a mischaracterization of the use of the bullhook. It's no different than a leash on a dog. You can use it correctly or incorrectly, or a bit for a horse. You know, so to say that this is a tool of pain and punishment and they fear it, that was not my experience at all with using it. It was like the previous speaker said, it was an extension of the hand to guide and direct the animal. Are there people who are going to use tools incorrectly? Yes, but it is a needed and necessary tool for people who properly work with elephants. And I, went to many elephant manager association conferences with these are the people who work with elephants. And, that is not their view. That it is their view that they need this as a tool to guide and direct the animal. So I think you're hearing, a mischaracterization of the use of this tool from PETA and other people that really don't work with elephants.
Okay, thank you so much for your perspective. All right, we have a motion and a second to report the bill. Delegate Tran, anything else?
I realize that this bill hopefully is in good shape based on the conversation from committee members, but I do just want to refute some of the comments that were made, particularly from witnesses that indicated that they volunteer or work with the Natural Bridge Zoo. In the Roanoke Times on December 8th, the paper reported this, just about OSHA's conditions. The confidential informant also documented OSHA's living conditions, which were substandard. The affidavit from the Attorney General's office reads, "She stood and slept in her own urine, was chained when unattended, and given cold baths." The affidavit also says that OSHA, who has lived as a solitary elephant for decades, has very little enrichment. It goes on to say, the article, that it goes on to say that the confidential informant I'm sorry, I forgot to find my quote, but that the spoke about her keeper, who's worked at that zoo for 15 years, told the confidential informant that, quote, "It is important to get keeper respect from any animals in the park." He advised the confidential informant to always jab them where bone is close to flesh, make it count. And so if we hear directly from folks who are handling OSHA, those are also, I think, another perspective that was reported on in the Roanoke Times in December. As we all have talked about, animals are incredibly sophisticated, intelligent animals who mourn deaths, who celebrate births, who work really hard to protect their herd. And I think this one small step that we could take to ensure proper care that aligns with the level of care at other zoos throughout the United States is important.
Yeah. Delegate Tran, just one final question before we take to the vote. An elephant is not a companion animal, so most of the people who are going to be taking care of this animal are paid to do so. It's not a matter of love or it's their pet or anything else, and sometimes that can be perhaps an abusive situation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, that could happen.
Okay. Thank you so much. One more discussion point, Senator Stewart.
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to say, after all that, I like the bill. There are cruel and inhumane ways to treat animals, and it seems to me that the delegate has brought to us a cruel and inhuman way to treat these elephants. So I hope that we'll all support the bill.
All right. Thank you so much. With that, if there are no other comments, would you open the roll, please? Vote yea if you're in favor of reporting the bill, nay if you are opposed.
Why isn't mine working?
There you go. You're good.
Ayes 11, noes 2, abstentions 2.
Ayes 11, nays 2, abstentions 2. The bill reports. Congratulations,
much.
Delegate Tran. Delegate Bulova, you are next.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is House Bill 320, and I've been sitting here for the last hour and a half cogitating on elephant and pickle puns, but I will spare you. So anyways.
Mr. Chairman, this is a big deal, okay?
It's a big deal.
I know this
Now
has
that we've
been a
got the
jarring
elephant out of
committee
the
for you.
room.
Right.
This is a big deal.
All right, let's roll. Senator Delegate Bulova.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the purpose of this bill is to increase the ability of volunteers to help with efforts to control the spread of invasive plants. And I've sat through enough of these particular committee meetings to know that you're more than keenly aware of the huge problem that invasive plants present, whether that's ecologically or whether that's economically. And I know that most of you all are probably also aware of the Farm Bureau article that cited about $1 billion in economic damage annually. There's also been a number of bill or budget amendments out there that would provide additional money for state agencies to be able to tackle this. But I think that the real simple truth is that no amount of, we can't hire enough state staff to really make an effective difference in all this. The good news is that there are a lot of volunteers who are able and willing to help out with this. So so what this bill does is it addresses a very real hurdle that we have to those volunteer efforts. So just by way of background, current law has an absolute prohibition on volunteers from being able to use any amount of herbicide on public property. So while you can have people out there who are pulling those plants, you can have people out there who are cutting those plants, they're simply going to grow back if you don't use some amount of herbicide on the stumps or the plants themselves. And so as a result, literally you've had hours wasted.
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Stewart.
Delegate Bulova, and I just want to make sure I understand. You're talking about herbicides that they're sophisticated herbicides where you have to have an applicator's license to use those. They could go out and buy a Roundup or something like that off the rack, which may not be the best thing to use without any supervision. But if you're using the ones that require an applicator's license, then you simply can't do it without that license, right?
So, Mr. Chairman, I guess what I'd say is that the prohibition on public property is both the restricted ones and also the unrestricted ones, everything. Okay. And so you have a situation where this is something, like you said, you can go out to Home Depot, you can buy it, you can apply it to your own yard, you can apply it to HOA property, you can apply it to a private golf course, but under no circumstances can you apply that to public property. And so for better or for worse, herbicides are an important part of invasive species management. You really can't do it without it. We also want to make sure that we're doing it in a safe way. And so there's been other states that have tackled this problem, Illinois in particular. And so that's kind of the basis for the bill that we put in front of you. And so the bill, what it does is allow an unpaid volunteer to use herbicides, but only if the local political subdivision provides express authorization. So this is completely up to the locality whether they want to be able to do this or not. Has to be a non-restricted herbicide. So again, it's something that you can buy at the store, at your Home Depot or a Lowe's. It's not the restricted stuff, and that's restricted for a purpose. The application has to be for the sole purpose of controlling invasive plants, so it's very targeted. And then finally, the volunteer has to be trained by a certified commercial applicator. And so that's VDAC's highest level of an applicator on kind of the basics of safety. And so it includes the risks associated with the herbicide, the proper use of equipment, proper use of personal protective equipment, how to prevent adverse impacts to the environment, and then any other relevant information to the herbicide being used. And so it's just a very limited carve-out that allows for properly trained volunteers to use herbicides in very limited circumstances to control invasive plants. I have a number of folks who would be interested in presenting on the bill, but that's what it does, and happy to take any questions.
All right, questions from the committee? We have none. Do you have anyone here, Delegate Bulova, to speak in favor of the bill?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak in favor, raise your hand.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Hurley with the Blue Ridge PRISM, that is the Partnership for Regional Invasive Species Management. And I'd like to thank you for hearing this bill and Delegate Bulova for bringing it. Municipal parks, I visited a lot of them around the state, and they're largely wrecked with invasive plants. Meanwhile, there are a lot of volunteers out there that would like to do serious work on these parks, but mechanical methods alone are not going to do it. I myself was one of those volunteers 15 years or so ago. I got authority from Arlington County Parks to take on a 1-acre project that of an area that was completely wrecked with 10 or 15 species. And I convened a group of volunteers. We worked on our hands and knees for about 4 months to dig these plants out of the ground using mechanical methods only. 3 years later, we had probably the most beautiful native plant meadow established there in all of Arlington County, probably including Alexandria as well. We planted it with native seeds. And then I had to leave the area. I'm now in Greene County. There was nobody to sort of step in and do the work and care for the site thereafter. And lo, these years later, it is completely reverted to its original state. Arlington County was not willing or able to devote the resources to do probably what would have been required, maybe 3 or 4 hours worth of spraying on an annual basis. Any volunteer who was close to that site and wanted to steward it could have done that kind of work. And so the issue here is that municipalities just do not have the resources, the financial resources, to take on the challenge of invasive plants. With whatever limited resources they have, they can throw those resources at a contractor to do the heavy lifting at the start of a project. But to continue that work, they need a volunteer workforce who are authorized only to use unrestricted herbicides to do that work. So I urge you to make this possible for municipalities to do better work on their municipal parks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next. I think he's covered the territory pretty well. Could you tell us who you are and that you're in support?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Tom Smith with the Virginia Native Plant Society, 31 years getting to serve the citizens at the Department of Conservation and Recreation, managing our natural area preserves and state parks. We appreciate the excellent comments from the delegate and fully support the bill.
Thank you so much, Tom. All right. Yes, sir. All right. Double duty here.
My name's Dan Lefevre from Nelson County. Overall, I'm basically in favor of this bill that volunteers need to be very well trained to apply these herbicides. But I think the real issue here is we're putting more and more toxics out into the environment. And the invasive issue is a cat out of the bag that we're never going to get a handle on it. We're better to have more plants sequestering carbon than eliminating them. I realize it's knocking out the natives. And the other issue is that, we just shouldn't be putting more endocrine disruptors out there that are getting into the environment, that are washing off into the Chesapeake Bay or other watersheds and contaminating those and causing much more issue downstream than the site where you're trying to control invasives.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Chair, we have 3 people online that would like to speak.
Okay. First off, I'd like to, is there anyone here in opposition to the bill in person? All right.
Move to report.
Well, we have some folks online. If y'all could be just very brief and tell us whether we have a good understanding of the bill, if you could tell us whether you are in support or opposition. If you're in opposition, we'd like to hear some testimony, but if you're in support, just tell us who you are and that you're in support.
Betsy Martin, you can unmute.
Bessie Martin, representing the 5,000 members of the Audubon Society of Northern Virginia, and we support this bill and thank Delegate Oliver for introducing it.
Thank you, ma'am. Next.
Glenn Tobin, you can unmute.
Hello, my name is Glenn Tobin. I live in Arlington County. I'm also a strong supporter of the bill, and I represent myself here, but I think I'm really representing all the future volunteers that this bill enables, because I already do this today, working with the National Park Service.
Okay.
And I can tell you definitively, it makes a big difference when we can actually deploy these tools to restore natural areas.
Great. Thank you very much, sir.
Laurie Dodd, go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. I'm Laurie Dodd, a member of the Virginia Native Plant Society from Fairfax County, and I am one of those volunteers. I volunteered as a trained tree rescuer, and so I can cut English ivy off of a tree so that it's not growing up the tree, but I can't kill the roots down below. And if I can use a simple tool like this, it's the same technology as you use to mark your bingo cards. And it's got a small amount of general use pesticide, and I can dab it on the stem, and that's all it takes to kill the entire root system and to save me from having to kill that same vine again and again.
Thank you so much. All right. I believe we have a motion to, Delegate Bullitt, anything else you want? We have a motion to report. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second to report the bill. If you open the roll, please. All in favor, vote yay. Opposed, nay.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. Thank you, Delegate Bullitt. And we have Delegate Krizak next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is House Bill 1167. This authorizes localities to adopt an ordinance prohibiting the sale of that English ivy, Hedera helix, within its jurisdiction. It's designated as an invasive plant by the Commonwealth and all local jurisdictions of Virginia. It displaces native plants. It's got no natural enemies. It kills trees. It spreads quickly. I would say to Senator Stanley, it is a growing threat. So you heard from volunteers that are trying to get rid of it, and it's kind of the kudzu of the North. It's our volunteers are trying to take it down, but the best way to stop it is, at least to get a handle on it, is to give the localities that option. It's wise to give them that option to limit its sale.
All right. Thank you. I think this is a foot in the door, Delegate Krizak, to what will become a rather large and probably most welcomed Christmas tree of invasive plants in the future. Any other questions from the committee? We have anybody here in favor of the bill?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak in favor, raise your hand.
And I think we know your general understanding of invasive plants, but if you could just let us know who you are and whether you...
Yes, Jim Hurley again with the Blue Ridge Prism. I just like to call to mind broccoli trees. Keep that in mind as you're driving up and down the highways and byways of Virginia, and you see these big trees with English ivy all over their branches. That's the image that we're trying to reduce. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Tom?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Tom Smith, Virginia Native Plant Society, we support the bill.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, we have 2 people online that would like to speak.
2 people online. Could you just be very brief in your support or opposition?
Betsy Martin, you may unmute.
I'm again representing the Audubon Society of Northern Virginia, and we completely support this bill and urge you to vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Laurie Dodd, you can unmute.
Yes, Laurie Dodd, Virginia Native Plant Society. I'm also a board member of Reston Association, which feels like a local government, but it's really just a homeowners association. We already have a rule that forbids people from planting English ivy in Reston. It would be great if Fairfax County would have the power to decide not to allow it to be sold within the county. I support the bill.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Anyone, any other questions? Do we have a motion on the bill? Opposition? Excuse me. I'm sorry. Opposition to the bill?
If there's anyone online that would like to speak in opposition, raise your hand.
I'm Dan Lefevre from Nelson County. I'm in favor of the prohibition on sale and educating people not to use it.
Well, we're doing opposition to the
Boston,
bill.
I understand that, and use Boston ivy instead. But I think civil penalty is going a bit far, and how do you administer that, and what cost would it be to bring judgments against people that were selling it?
Okay, well, hopefully people who were selling it would know what they're selling and know their responsibility. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Katie Hellebush, representing the Virginia Nursery and Landscape Association. Nurserymen and landscapers are dedicated to educating our consumers and promoting best practices. VNLA is focused on bringing the industry together, and therefore we are opposed to this bill. We are not promoting the sale of English ivy, but we are opposed to prohibiting the sale of any product. And therefore, with due respect to the patron, we do oppose this, as you said, Christmas tree bill, which opens up the opportunity for other products to be prohibited. We also asked the question about enforcement. How would you enforce the bill? And we also just want to note the precedent this would set and the penalty, that we would oppose a civil penalty being imposed by this legislation.
Oh, okay, thank you so much.
Happy
Did
to
you have a
answer any
question for the witness, Senator Hackworth? You just want to speak to the bill. Okay, can we finish up then with
Thank you.
Opposition testimony?
Mr. Chairman, Brad Copenhaver, representing the Virginia Agribusiness Council, associate my comments with Ms. Hellebush. Just reiterate that we have a statewide invasive species list. We have statewide plans. We have been working with Senator Salim and with Delegate Siebold and the other body about education and labeling. We feel like a ban, especially at the local level, where you could have a patchwork of different ordinances in different localities, is not the way to go about addressing this problem. We feel like it's a statewide problem, and we're addressing that through education. Thank you.
All right, we have Senator Hackworth first, and then Senator Stewart.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think we have joining us Mr. Invasive Species that just joined us on the committee, and I think his recommendation and his bill that's going through would actually, what I would recommend, just label it. People know what they're buying, and not do an outright ban. So for that, I would ask that we oppose this.
Thank you, Senator Stewart.
Mr. Chairman, if I'm reading the bill right, this just allows us to fine local businesses in Virginia for doing this, but you could order it out of a catalog through the mail or online, and you could still buy it, and there's no penalty. So the only thing it does is stop Virginia businesses from selling it. It doesn't prohibit its planting or use. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it. Mr. Chairman, that's correct. We do not this bill does not criminalize the actual planting of it or cultivating it or anything like that. This is just a limited tool to allow the localities to ban the sale at the nurseries or at Home Depot or wherever they're being sold.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
and it's Mr. Chairman, I could. This is based somewhat on what we passed a couple years ago on the bamboo ordinance. So we already have started down this path, if you will, with giving localities this option.
Okay, thank you, Senator Stewart. You had a follow-up.
Well, but that's my point. So we have localities have an ordinance about planting bamboo. We have ordinances about planting Johnson grass. We have ordinances about kudzu that says you can't plant them, and in fact, if you have it, you've got to eradicate it. But here you're just saying, well, you can't sell it, but you can go buy it anywhere else you want and plant it. That, to me, doesn't make much sense, I guess is my point. But I'm just a dumb country boy here.
Senator Salim, I believe you had a question. Could you get your mic?
Mr. Chairman, and of course, Delegate Krizak, thank you for bringing this bill up. It is different than the one that I have when it comes to the labeling and all that. In this specific bill, you're not telling localities what to do. We're just simply giving the power to the localities. If English ivy happens to be a problem in Fairfax County and not in Danville, then Fairfax County may choose, given that we gave them the ability to do this. We're not directly telling any of the localities what they should be doing. We're just giving them the authority to do it. So I think there's always some confusion in a lot of these bills. I just want to clarify that and do thank the patron for bringing this bill.
Okay, thank you, Senator Salim.
Chairman, yes,
Delegate Krizak.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the senator is correct, and this is really complementary to his bill.
Mm-hmm. And I don't believe it puts in conflict with any other measure that we may be taking.
No, sir.
All right. Any other comments, questions? We operate on a motion. We have a motion on the bill. We have a motion to report. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a report to second and a second to report the bill. Would you open the roll, please? All in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay.
Ayes 7, no 7, abstentions 1.
Ayes 7, noes 7, abstentions 1. I believe the bill fails. I'm sorry, Delegate Krizak. Delegate Lovejoy, I think you're up next.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, this is a rather straightforward bill, so I will be brief. HB 1379 is a housekeeping bill that consolidates 15 DEQ reports to the General Assembly into one annual comprehensive report due to the General Assembly on October 1st. Currently, there are many statutory requirements imposed on DEQ to submit annual, biannual, or quadrannual reports to the General Assembly on various topics. These reports cover aspects of DEQ's programs and have different reporting deadlines, which makes it challenging for legislators, staff, and members of the public to find the information. This bill consolidates 15 reports prepared by DEQ and submitted to the General Assembly into a single report that will be submitted to the General Assembly on October 1st. It does not change any of the substance or content of any of the reports. It simply streamlines their timeline. I stand ready to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Delegate Lovejoy. Any questions from the committee on this housekeeping bill?
Just consolidate some reports.
Yeah. All right. Anyone here to speak in favor of the bill?
Any opposition?
Do you have a question? Delegate Williams-Graves.
That was, is DEQ in favor of this bill, Mr. Chair, Mr. Patron?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Williams-Graves, I'm Brandon Bull. I'm the Policy Director at the Department of Environmental Quality. We greatly appreciate Delegate Lovejoy bringing this bill. Like he said, it doesn't change the substance of any reports or any of their the reporting frequency. It just consolidates everything in a more transparent manner, and we do support it.
All right. Thank you so much. Anyone in the audience in favor of the bill? Anyone in opposition?
Move to report.
Do we have anyone online?
Mr. Chair, there's no one online at this time.
All right. We have a motion and a second to report the bill. All in favor? Vote yea. Opposed, nay.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill reports. Congratulations, Delegate Lovejoy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Enjoy your day.
Good to see you here. And I believe we have a motion from Senator Stewart.
Mr. Chairman, having voted on the prevailing side by which HB 1167 failed to report, I would move we reconsider that vote.
All right. We have a motion to reconsider Delegate Krizak's bill. Could you open the roll, please? All in favor? Vote yea. Opposed, nay. All right. Everything's up there. And Delegate Krizak has left the room, but let's kill it again. It is. That's not nice. It is. This is Senate Bill 1167. Delegate Krizak's bill's up for reconsideration. It involved the sale of local option for banning the sale of just presenting his bill again for English Ivy, and we've had a reconsideration on the vote to local option to ban the sale. Would you open the roll, please? All in favor of his bill? Vote aye. Vote yea. Opposed, no.
Ayes 8, no 7.
Ayes 8, no 7. The bill reports. Thank you so much. Is Delegate Askew in the room? I have not seen Delegate Askew. We'll hold his bill over until we're done. Okay. Is that going to be heard next week? No. Okay. We had apparently already heard it. So at any rate, that will do it for today. I think that completes our docket. The committee will rise.
The Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.